Tabela Tabela, hey everyone, and welcome back to the MORENA podcast. I hope you guys have been well, and I've been amazing. I've been good. I've been holding up well. The past week was a little bit gentle to me, or especially maybe it was because it was my birthday week. I just celebrated my birthday yesterday, which was the 17th of April. And yeah, I'm growing. Ke a gola, ke tlo leka na le tlo. Why am I forgetting standard procedure? My name is MORENA. Ke nna Morena, ke rena ke bushe magodimo le mafatshe, and I'm so excited to have you guys here again. So, eish, ke rata to shashala, it's gonna be straight. Anyways, yeah, as I was saying, my week has not been hectic. It was just gentle to me because maybe it was because it was my birthday. I was celebrating it and I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm just hoping that God extends the years so that I can grow and I become old, like my granddad, and hopefully past the 100-year mark. Hopefully. But otherwise, I hope you guys have been well. But a lot has been happening on the scope of the global activity. A lot has been going on, a lot has been happening, and specifically with what's going on about the arrest of our prestigious, amazing, and glorious leader, Dr. Julius Malema. That has saddened me, and now with his sentencing, it seems as if the enemy it's finally close to winning, but I really hope that with the appeal he doesn't win. So if you don't know what's going on, what I'm talking about, basically, Dr. Julius Malema was arrested for using a rifle in public and shooting at it. Mind you, he wasn't even shooting at people. He was shooting vertically. So it was at a rally. The video shows Dr. Julius Malema at a rally, singing to his followers, and then it displays him just shooting it up, And so he was unfortunately arrested for that, and he was also sentenced up to 5 years, and with all other charges. I just forgot, but it's 5 years and other 6 months charges as well, But hopefully, he can appeal, because really, it's my take on it. The case is really just unnecessary. Okay, look, I get it. It's unlawful. It's illegal to fire a gun whenever, and obviously, no one is above the law, right? Sharp. Okay, cool. But then, let's be honest. This wasn't just about Dr. Julius shooting a rifle. Okay, now we're getting a little bit into politics. I haven't been keeping an eye on the politics world lately, but from Dr. Julius' history with how he's been treated in the political world, I think we all know that he is the black sheep. Now, I'm not painting him as the 100% victim of everything that's happening. He also has his flaws. He also does, things that doesn't make us happy too. But if we're really honest about Dr. Julius, guys, he has done a lot more for this country and a lot more for all of these provinces than generally most parties have. Look, when a black person is mistreated, who's the first to stand up? It's them. I remember this case that happened with another amazing creator who goes by the name of Sonwabile. Shout out to Sonwabile, by the way, whereby he was on the stream. I think it was a stream, and then these little white kids used the K word on him. Guess who were the first people to stand up against that, to stand up against racism? It was them, and it's a lot of cases that they've done so. It's not the first one. It's a lot. Student injustices, it's them. Okay. The leader of the president, or the current president of the Tshwane University of Technology, or the current president of the SRC in the Tshwane University of Technology, is an EFF member. And best believe that ever since he was installed as a leader, there's been little to less complaints about students not receiving their allowances. Everything's just been going well compared to the previous leader that was here, whereby we would wait a month just so that students can get their allowances. Okay, that's just a bit of what the EFF does, and this is me showing you that it is not impactful only in the national state, but also in the local states. Okay, in the academic space as well. Although it's giving justice. So, with this case of Julius Malema, I think that it was a trap. Not to say it was a trap, but they've been waiting for him. The enemy has been waiting for him for so long, just so that he can slip up on one simple legal act, and then once he can just slip up, then they would have caught him. And unfortunately, this time he did. He did, and today we're here. But I really, really hope that he won't be, he gets to appeal and he gets to win the appeal, because we really need him. We need him, guys. Tate Julius Malema is the closest Afro, what's that word? Let me look for it. He's the closest pro-African leader that we can have ever in this country. Because why? Why am I saying that? Number one, he doesn't he doesn't people please, other leaders from other countries. If you are doing nonsense, he will straight up tell you that you're doing nonsense. He's not gonna beat around the bush and apologize in fancy terms. He's just gonna tell you straight up that, yo, you are messing this up and I don't like this. Fix it or I'm not gonna be here. Okay? This may sound like I'm glazing him in Gen Z terms, but I'm not. I'm just stating what it's out there. Like, we all know this, guys. He's very straightforward in what he does, and he's very intentional with what he does. He doesn't beat around the bush. Okay? If you're doing nonsense, he'll call you out. Even on Twitter, he'll call you out. Okay? And this one, you guys know it. I think there was a point in time where in one of his establishments, there's a certain artist that didn't pull up, and then he went on Twitter and said, yo, I don't like what you're doing. That's just how straightforward he is, and me personally, I think that it's commendable to have someone who is straightforward like that and open, rather than have a pretentious leader, because you don't know what their true intentions are, and it's very hard for you to predict them. Do you get what I'm saying? Someone who pretends a lot is very, very dangerous, because you will never ever know what their true motive is. So rather be straightforward and be hated for being straightforward, but at least the people will know how you feel, will know what's your stance on whatever news or matter or whatever, on whatever belief. And when people know that, when people know where you stand, when people know your stance, when people know all of those things, it's very easy for me to trust you, because I know that when this is your genuine, true feelings, unlike some performative people, and this is going to lead me to the next topic that I'm going to enter now. But unlike some people where they just pretend to be, it's very scary, because the uncertainty factor is just too high. Your mind will constantly keep trying to wonder, is this person going to do this next? Is this person going to do that next? And in some cases, it will drive you crazy. It will drive you crazy because this person will always stay in your mind. And until they can physically act, you will never know what they will do next. So hence, I'm really, really empathizing with Tate Julius Malema. He's one of the closest pro-African presidents. I'm manifesting it. He's pro-African leaders that we could ever have in this generation. Okay, he doesn't suck up on other leaders, like I've said. He doesn't do any of that. Okay, he knows what he stands for, and I think that's commendable. Okay, so I really hope that he appeals and everything becomes okay. And yeah, he comes back to us because we need him. And also, before I wrap up this one, I really find it weird that if you're a youth or my peer, or you're equal to my age, or you're slightly older, or you're just in your 20s, 30s, I find it weird if you're going to be rejoicing at what's happening to Dr. Julius Malema, because it tells me, or it shows me, that you would rather side with the enemy here than to actually stand up for your own. Siraz, I really find it weird, because within all of those things that I just mentioned that the EFF is doing on the ground, not in the parliament using fancy word promising, doing empty promises, on the ground, you know, it's really commendable. So the only young people who should be rejoicing at Julius Malema getting arrested are either people who are born in a who are born with a silver spoon, are born privileged, and those people who have nepotism to their advantage. I think those are the only people who should be laughing at what's happening to him. Otherwise, if you're not part of those big three people of this country, or people with connections as well, if you're not part of these big four, nepotism, people born with nepotism, people born with connections, privileged people, and people born with a silver spoon, if you're not part of these people, you have no business rejoicing at what's happening to Dad Julius Malema, because you need him. In fact, you need him more than he needs you. So it's really weird. It's really weird. And it's also a sign of self-hate as a black person if you're going to be laughing at another black man's downfall. Let's get that straight. Especially a black man who actively goes out and help people. Okay? We're not talking about someone who just sits all day in parliament and just, oh yeah, and uses fancy word all day. No, we're talking about someone who goes to the ground, engages with the people. So please, get your facts straight and get your identity in order. Anyways, this is me wrapping up the topic. I really hope that Julius, I really hope that you get your justice and you appeal and you win your appeal. Aluta continua and Amandla away to however they say it in politics. Okay? Alright. So the main topic of today. Hey, this one, guys. This one is it's something I think a lot of people have been talking about lately, but I don't think they've been talking about it as much. So I'm gonna talk about it. So last week, I'm not sure, I think it was early last week, yes, I was having a conversation with a friend, a few of them, a contact rather, or an acquaintance. I was having a conversation with her and she was telling me that, I deleted TikTok because lately I feel like I've been losing interest to all my hobbies. I was like, wow, really? How? And she just continued to explain that she used to love reading, and all of a sudden, reading is boring to her and she just falls asleep whenever she reads. But ever since she deleted TikTok, she's slowly coming back to her hobbies. And it was very interesting for me to hear that, because I was like, wow, so wait, you deleted TikTok and somehow you somehow started finding a love, or your love back, or your way back to your hobbies. And then a question was born in my mind. What's the correlation of TikTok with her losing her interest to practice her hobbies? What is the correlation really? And it led me down to a very strange rabbit hole whereby I discovered a lot of things, and it really makes sense now that I discovered all of these things. It makes sense because, it just summarizes and it explains why the generation of today is so insensitive and why the generation of today is becoming more and more illiterate, So then I pondered upon this research paper. Let me show you guys. Let me just type in real quick. Let me check it, because this is the rabbit hole where everything started making sense. And nervous. Let me So this was um, an article from sciencefocus.com that I read about, and the author is Christian Jarrett, and it was published on February 23rd, 2025 at 11 a.m. And it basically explains everything about how TikTok affects your brain, or how binging short form videos is bad for your gray matter. So, in the study that they conducted, they scanned, and I quote, they scanned the brains of more than 100 undergrad students and had them complete a questionnaire about their habits of watching short online videos. The survey included statements like, "My life will feel empty without short videos," and "not being able to watch short videos would be as painful as losing a friend," with participants indicating how much they agreed. Intriguingly, researchers found that those who felt the most attached to short videos had noticeable differences in their brain structure. These participants had more gray matter in their orbitofrontal cortex, or OFC, which is a region near the front of the brain involved in decision making and emotional regulation. Similarly, they had more gray matter in their cerebellum, a small cauliflower shaped structure at the back of the brain that plays a role in movement and emotions. The team then concluded this was bad news for lovers of TikTok, as having an oversized OFC could be a sign of what described as heightened sensitivity to the rewards and stimuli associated with short video content. They speculated that watching too many TikTok videos might have led to this neural bloating. And yeah, guys, the study is a bit long, so if you're interested, just go and check it out. It's sciencefocus.com. But I really just want to get to this other part that's very interesting. But first, let's summarize what I just read. Okay, so basically, that part that I just quoted, that I just read, it basically describes that watching too many short videos can affect your brain's ability to have proper decision making skills and for proper emotional regulation. Okay, and so sorry. How does that? How do we then see that play out, Abo? Let's start with emotional regulation. Short form videos drive so much dopamine that you end up your emotional system end up becoming dysregulated. Okay, and when you watch too much short videos in one time, you then become overstimulated. All right. When you're stimulated, that also affects you emotionally. So, which means maybe you feel a bit foggy in the head, and because short form videos, remember, they also shorten your attention span. You tend to become more impatient. You tend to feel like 1 minute, one minute is 1 hour. Basically your perception of time changes, and when your perception of time changes, your impatience grows, and when your impatience grows, when you're impatient, we all know you become frustrated, and when you're frustrated, you're more than likely to be angry if your desires are not met. Okay, so you see emotional regulation. So emotional regulation in that kind of a setting is not there because you're impatient and you rush things and you're frustrated and you're angry. However, though, if you were not watching too many short form videos at one time, you wouldn't be impatient as much, and your emotional regulation would be better. 1 minute would feel like 1 second to you. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope you understand the emotional regulation part. And then we come to the second one, which is decision making, proper decision making skills. Guys, a stimulated brain is very easily influenced. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. When you're stimulated, being stimulated, it's similar to being under influence. It's just that the difference is the influence of normal. Let me ground myself. Ground yourself. Bring back your points. Okay. Being stimulated or being influenced, when you're stimulated, it's easy. Influence is easy to you because it's similar to how being influenced while you're under substances work. That your brain lowers inhibition, so you're more than likely to be easily influenced. And the same goes for stimulation, even if it's not substances but short form videos, right? When you watch short form videos, you're stimulated, and when you're stimulated, your brain will make decisions on a high, on a dopamine high. It won't make proper normal decisions that you would normally make, so your brain would be making more emotional decisions than logical decisions for yourself. And we see that play out in students. You would find a student saying, "Oh no, I'll study at 7 but before 7 they hop onto a short form social media platform, and then it gives them such a high that by the time 7 o'clock hits and they're supposed to be studying, they make an emotional decision to say, I'm so tired, or I'm so, let me just reschedule, I'll study later. Do you get where I'm going now? That's what they're talking about, or that's how I comprehend the article. But there's this really interesting part, guys, I really want us to delve into as well. Let's continue. I'm reading now. And I quote, "But that's not all. The team also performed a second brain scan, tracking participants' brain activity while they rested with their eyes closed. They found a greater synchronization of activity within multiple areas of the brain. This included the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, a region involved in self-control, the posterior cingulate cortex, an area involved in thinking about yourself, the thalamus, the kind of relay station for brain signals, and the cerebellum. The researchers suggested these functional brain differences could reflect a range of problems among the more addicted participants. Issues include trouble disengaging from videos and a tendency for excessive social comparison while watching them." Very interesting, right? Like, it really, this article, guys, really explains everything that's going on right now with the current generation. Because the first part, it says that binging short form videos affect a part of your brain that is involved with self-control. This means that you're more likely to not be as disciplined compared to when you're not watching as much short form videos. And I want you guys to really, really understand me very clearly. This article is not saying don't watch short form videos. No. It's just highlighting the effects of overly consuming short form videos. I hope that makes sense. I hope that is clear. Okay? So back to self-control. Binging too many short form videos can affect your self-control. So this means that you guys must be on the lookout. If you know someone who binges TikTok videos a lot, or any other social form videos a lot, you just make sure that you are able to trust them with certain things. Because if they say that if that person is addicted to short form videos, their self-control is less. And if their self-control is less, you being able to trust them won't suffice. You'll be more reluctant, in fact, to trust them, because you're like, okay, maybe, for example, you want to trust them with your secret, but you read the study and it says that people who binge a lot of these videos might have little to no self-control. And so obviously you'll get scared, and you're like, well, what if I share something very important to myself, and that person, because they have no self-control, shares it with everybody, And then the second part, this one, and I think we all know this one. It says that overly binging short form videos affects another area that is involved with thinking about yourself. This one, I think we all know it. In fact, the name for this is brain rot. It's brain rot, whereby you find people just rotting their brains away by binging videos. and they can't even think for themselves. They are not innovative, they are not creative, and they heavily depend on other people or other external stimulants. Okay, and now that AI is in the picture, it's even way worse, this brain rot thingy, because it's even worse because uh, most people nowadays depend on AI to think. They no longer use their brains. A lot of people are no longer original. So pairing AI, the overuse of AI and the overuse of watching short form videos, that is a recipe for disaster. That basically creates the ultimate brain rot individual. Okay? Because seriously, social media has been existing for a very long time, you know? So why didn't we have brain rot back in the last decade? It was because people, as much as people were binging, they would still be able to think for themselves. But now that we have AI in the picture, everything is a lot different now than before. You get my point? So yeah, so back to what I was saying. So now you can't think for yourself. So now you can't think for yourself. You have no self-control. You can't even enjoy the things you used to enjoy. What is that? Is that living? Because I personally don't think that that's living. You're just a subhuman at that point, because that's, after reading this article, I then started to understand that acquaintance of mine that I was talking to, that she had to delete, she decided to take a conscious decision of deleting and putting away everything so that she can go back and enjoy her hobbies, because we just proved why her decision made sense, and so and after I read this article, I also reflected it upon myself, and I also realized that, damn, there's certain habits or there's certain hobbies that I outgrew that I really used to love when I started having a cell phone, or when I started having social media, that I really need to get back to, which include things like gaming. I no longer game as much as I used to. I used to love gaming, and I used to love also reading books a lot, binging books. But it's dwindling. It's shaky. But I can't say for sure because I still read articles, especially tech updates. But it really just makes sense. It just makes sense. Just learn to regulate yourself while you are active on social media. So what I decided to do myself is that I was like, okay, cool. So this thing is really, really not cool. How do I then solve a problem? Because now, after reading this article, I was like, but TSHEGO, you can't delete social media because you are still trying to grow yourself. You're still trying to grow your brand. You're still trying to grow your presence. So how do you then manage that kind of a situation? How do you then make sure you're consistent, but you are also not spending as much time on social media to protect your brain? And luckily, that's where now I was able to find a very perfect solution. Record my podcasts and then clip farm all of them on Opus Clip or any other clip farming website, and schedule all my content. All my content nowadays is scheduled. If you see me posting every week, just know that it's probably something I recorded last weekend, but that really helped me to make sure that I stay consistent on my socials, but at the same time I'm protecting my brain. I do reinstall my social medias just to monitor the numbers and monitor the analytics, must review and improve. Because I can't just say, I'm deleting social media and then I'm automating all my posts and then I'm done. No. So I think that's just the best solution for content creators or any other people who want to protect their brain but at the same time wish to be consistent. Or you can just film videos of yourself. If you don't do podcasts like I'm doing right now, you can film your memes or your jokes or whatever it is that you're doing on your vlogs, pre-film them, and then TikTok, desktop TikTok, or the TikTok on your desktop has a feature where you can schedule all your content. Unfortunately, it doesn't have on mobile, but it has there. So you can record all your vlogs, record all those funny moments and your memes and your pranks, and then just edit properly, and then go there and then schedule all of them so that they can be posted. I just gave you guys a solution. Those of you who are, and if you're someone who has a FOMO or fear of missing out, yeah, it's going to be a problem if you're trying to protect your brain, because you need to get over that fear. You need to be okay with the fact that when you're not there, life still goes on. Seriously, like, FOMO is, you just need to accept the fact that life goes on with or without you. So there's no need for FOMO. There's no need to fear, to be afraid of missing out. Like, look at me right now. I'm busy recording this and you're busy watching this, and the world out there is going as normal as it's supposed to be. I can't be everywhere all at once, witnessing everything happening all at once. I just have to pick my focus, and then exactly. So this article, it also helped me understand, because I was able to understand that the reason why we fall out of love with our hobbies when we overuse social media is because cheap dopamine. The dopamine you get from this cell phone. And it's really funny because it's called a cell phone, and if you could just really analyze the word cell phone, cell, what is it? What is a cell? Prison, jail. So it's like what? A phone that keeps you in a cell phone. It's even in the word itself that the reason why you're glued, you call it a cell phone. It's a phone that keeps you in a cell. But anyways, the reason why we usually fall out of love with our hobbies is because cheap dopamine that we get here, because the dopamine here is easy, and also it's easy to get dopamine, because why? All you just have to do is turn on your phone, unlock it. It's turn on your phone and then unlock it, and then go to your social media app and then open, and then boom, you've reached the end of your destination, and you can now start enjoying dopamine. So that kind of easy access is, it also, is the reason why also people don't want to work hard. It's also the reason why people want the easy way out in things, because they're used to having easy ways in everything. And also social media has made my generation very insensitive. Like, everybody on these apps are very rude. They're very horrible. They just, plain just villains. They will hate on anything. And also they are too sensitive for my liking. Like, TikTok nowadays is starting to become like Twitter. And a lot of people have been saying that lately. And I couldn't help but agree with them. Because now you can't even make a joke. You can't even sing. And Mac G highlighted this. Shout out to Mac G, by the way. He highlighted this on this week's podcast and chill. I just forgot which episode was it, where he said that no one can have an original opinion anymore. People have to be performative about everything, and it's really just ruined the juice of, or the value of social media. Let's be honest. Because if everybody is just going to be playing positive, you see how LinkedIn is set up? That app. Everybody there is pretending. LinkedIn is the most perfect example of a performative social media platform. If you guys want TikTok and every other social media app to be like LinkedIn, social media will no longer be fun anymore. Because if I have my social medias open, I don't go to LinkedIn to just enjoy videos. Because that is a very performative site. Very performative. Very performative. So people ideally want a social media that is similar to LinkedIn, where everything is just positive, all glitter and gold. But the truth of the matter is, we are human beings, guys. And as human beings, we are different. And as different as we are, we will forever have different opinions. We will forever have different perspectives. We will forever have different beliefs. Okay? The only thing that must just happen is to ensure that we can coexist with each other without letting all of those things clash. clash. Or, for example, if I don't believe in Christianity and you believe in Christianity, we need to ensure that we can have a normal, mature conversations without letting our beliefs bleed into the conversation and causing us to clash all the time. Do you get what I'm saying? And that's just it. Nje, it's really not rocket science. So nowadays, everybody's just so horrible, man. And this is why, this is also one of the things that she also said, that, she deleted it to protect her mental state. And it really makes sense, because if you're always absorbing negativity, then you're more likely to just feel negative about everything in your life too. Do you get what I'm saying? And also the desensitization of our youth because of the constant traumatizing news we absorb every day. It's also taking a toll on us, hey? It's taking a very huge toll on us. So just make sure that you use social media wise, and you know your goals. If you want to protect your brain, if you still want to have your hobbies and you want to enjoy your hobbies, and you don't want you to lose interest out of your hobbies, but you also want to keep social media, just make sure that you use social media wisely. Okay? And you don't let it get to you and to a point where by now you start abandoning yourself. Okay? Self-care is very important. Your mental well-being is very important. So whenever you feel overwhelmed by social media, or whenever social media feels toxic, please do not hesitate. Uninstall, refresh, and you'll come back later. Don't worry about missing out on anything. You're not missing out on anything. This is digital footprint, man. It's not like it's going to be deleted anyways. Once someone posts, and you go a week without social media, when you come back, you will find the posts that were posted a week ago. Okay, so don't be afraid to take breaks from social media if you're feeling overwhelmed. Don't force things, okay? Because one day your brain will take a break for you, and the day that it does, it won't be nice for you. Okay, so yeah. Otherwise, that's just a wrap of today's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really enjoyed, and I had so much fun with you guys, and I had so much fun talking like this again. And I'm really proud of myself. I just want to say I'm really proud of myself, because I'm now a year older than yesterday. And I really hope that God blesses me and He ensures that I achieve my goals, and I really hope that He blesses me with everything that I desire, everything that I deserve. Sorry. And I hope I achieve all my goals, and I become an amazing human being in society, and I become a prominent member who can influence, can empower. Like my slogan says, like the slogan of my brand says, I enrich minds and I empower hearts. So from me to you guys, it's a wrap. I will see you guys next week, and I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.